Classic Ninjago ran for a really long time, clocking in at a full 15 seasons and 2 TV specials. When running for that insane amount of time, an ultimate ending to tie everything together is inevitably going to become a concern. And interestingly enough, Ninjago has taken multiple stabs at this idea. Ninjago has 3 separate endings. Points where a viewer can look at everything they've just watched and decide, I'm satisfied, and end their time with the Ninjago franchise in a satisfying place. If Season 11 and Dragon's Rising Season 1 are jumping on points for the Ninjago franchise, these seasons can be considered as jumping off points for the series. And today I want to give a brief discussion of all 3 of these finale seasons for Ninjago, and decide which one I think is the best and provides the most satisfying ending to the series. Just note that I am not speaking objectively in this video. The rankings I give today are going to be based solely off of my own personal opinion on these seasons. You might end up personally disagreeing with what I say in this video, and that's perfectly okay. I'd love to hear how everyone else's opinions differ on this subject in the comments down below. So, without further ado, let's rank Ninjago's 3 endings. Number 3. In at the number 3 spot on this list as the worst of Ninjago's endings, we have what unfortunately is the actual ending of the show. Season 15, Crystallized. I understand that this season has its fans, and that is perfectly okay. You are more than valid to enjoy what you like. But sadly for me, I dislike this season just as much as I did when it came out in 2022, if not even more nowadays. And if not for Dragon's Rising being as insanely good as it is, my interest in the Ninjago franchise probably would have ended completely with Crystallized. The season flies in the face of a good chunk of the stuff I liked about Ninjago leading up to it, and when Crystallized is an outright diminishing previous Ninjago stories, with its pretty underbaked character arcs for Lloyd, Nia, Garmadon, and especially Harumi, it's wasting the potential of what previous seasons like Seabound were setting up. This season just feels like they desperately wanted a massive fanservice-y endgame conclusion to Ninjago, and decided to do that, they were just going to recycle as much old Ninjago stuff as humanly possible, regardless of if it helped to tell a story or if it even needed to come back in the first place. I still mourn the loss of Harumi's original death and character send-off to this day. And how Crystallized actually ended with Lloyd and the ninja tapping into creation powers to defeat the baddie again was so played out. This exact plot setup had already happened twice in Ninjago's previous endings. They really needed something else to mix it up. At least with March of the Oni, when the ninja use creation to defeat the Oni, they do it in a different way to Season 2. Whereas with Crystallized, they even lift Lloyd riding a golden dragon and everything. Crystallized just feels like a very corporate send-off to what was otherwise a great show, with a clear lack of ideas for its characters and storyline, instead choosing to focus solely on fanservice and nothing else. The general lack of originality and bad writing is what I think makes Crystallized Ninjago's worst ending. Number 2. In at the number 2 spot on this list, we have the original ending for Ninjago, Season 2, Legacy of the Green Ninja. Season 2 was where Ninjago was originally supposed to end altogether, before overwhelming fan demand caused the franchise and TV series to be revived so that they can continue into the future. And I think as a season of TV and an ending to Ninjago, Season 2 was fine. Some aspects of the Ninjago community hype up Season 2 to be one of the greatest seasons of Ninjago ever released, and other sides of the Ninjago community have decided that Season 2 is absolutely horrible and would have been a terrible ending to Ninjago. It's a season that has become pretty divisive nowadays. Out of these 2 extremes, I agree with neither. I think Season 2 is just pretty good. I think the final battle was really cool, and seeing how far the ninja have come since the pilots was great. Lloyd really stepped up in this season as a great protagonist for Ninjago as a whole, with his story arc of rising up to take the mantle of the Green Ninja and his dynamic with his father being really compelling. I thought the Mega Weapon stuff was really cool as well. A lot of people have beef with the Mega Weapon stuff, calling it filler, but I think it's really important to Lloyd's character arc, because each Mega Weapon episode is slowly heading to the conclusion of Lloyd becoming a more competent and mature ninja. Also, I really enjoyed the plot thread of the original 4 stepping up to train Lloyd. It's a great show of how much more mature they've become as well since the start of Ninjago. The Overlord, however, is a bit of a boring villain. The Overlord has appeared in 3 seasons over the years, and I don't like his appearances in any of them really. I think Season 2 was definitely his best appearance. The Overlord is a way more mysterious character here in Season 2 when we're just getting introduced to him. and I think that angle of him makes him a bit more interesting. But I still don't think he's a particularly good villain here, much like in any of his seasons. My main gripe with Season 2 as an ultimate ending to Ninjago though is it just feels like we'd be missing so much stuff if we ended here. Like, I think if Ninjago ended at Season 2, as a whole it would be a fine and complete show. But so many aspects of Ninjago really started to come into their own after Season 2, really elevating the show to a whole new level for me. And I think losing all of that by having ended at Season 2 would be a massive blow to the show's quality, especially when Ninjago's most satisfying ending took place way after Season 2. Because coming in at the #1 spot in this video, we have Ninjago Season 10, March of the Oni. March of the Oni is the end of the near universally acclaimed Oni trilogy, and is also Wilfilm's last season animating Ninjago. On top of that, this is the final classic Ninjago season to have 22-minute long episodes, and the final Ninjago product released under the Masters of Spinjitzu subtitle. This thing, well and truly, was the end of an era. It wasn't the definitive ending of the Ninjago show, but it was to me. It didn't bring absolutely everything back in the way seasons like Crystallized did, but it brought the most important aspects of Ninjago, being the 6 main ninja, Sensei Wu and Lord Garmadon, into a conclusive place that felt satisfying and well earned, with some great full circle moments linking all the way back to the first episodes of Ninjago, such as the ninja doing a tornado of creation to win the day, Garmadon leaving the monastery, and Kai's skills as a blacksmith. March of the Oni is a great ending to the Oni trilogy and concludes its themes of what makes life worth living really well, whilst also being a spectacular full circle ending to Ninjago as a whole that brings the truly important stuff to a satisfying conclusive point. I think the Oni as villains could have been fleshed out a bit better, but I think what we got was decent. And I really like how Omega links to Garmadon thematically, basically being a dark mirror of everything he could become if he continues down the Conqueror path. Also, Lloyd meeting the first Spinjitzu master at the end of the season, and deciding that his life is worth living despite all of the things he's been through, is one of the most satisfying scenes in all of Ninjago to me. Lloyd's character arc across the Oni trilogy, I think, is the best in Ninjago history. And this final scene with the first Spinjitzu master is such a perfect culmination of it. March of the Oni is definitely bottlenecked by its 4-episode long runtime, but uses that short runtime to create a highly entertaining and rewatchable, mostly satisfying ending to the Ninjago show for me. And whilst I do like most of the 11-minute era seasons that released after March of the Oni, Season 10 to me is always going to be the definitive endpoint of classic Ninjago, and my favourite of Ninjago's 3 ending seasons. So yeah, I think March of the Oni is the definitive Ninjago ending. But as mentioned at the start of the video, this is a very subjective discussion. So if you would rank these endings differently, be sure to let me know how you would in the comments down below. I would love to hear how people's opinions differ on this subject, because it's a really interesting one to me. As always, I want to give a massive thank you to my channel members for their financial support of the channel. Their names are listed on screen now. And I want to give a massive thank you to everyone for watching this video all the way through, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.